Show. This is episode 6. Don't dream it's over. 10th floor reactions. 10th floor reactions. It's a JLJ Media after show. It's me, Matt. Hi, everybody.
Hi, it's Kat. I am mother of Matt.
Mother of Matt. Kat. Mom and son reacting to Monsters. And what a show we picked. You and me, mother and son, to talk about. And I said this
I think it takes a special kind of relationship to be able to talk about this kind of stuff.
Oh my gosh.
A lot of folks,
Yeah.
I think, maybe, they would say, I can't talk to my mom about
No,
some
mama.
nonsense like that.
Mama, no,
Not my mom.
no, but I'm doing it. I'm doing it, no problem. Hi. Hey, Ma, how you
Yeah.
doing? Watching Monsters. Oh my God. And I said this a couple of episodes ago, and I'm going to say it again. I promise I'm never going to do anything like this to you.
Yeah.
I promise.
Well, yeah.
I promise. I promise. So in this episode,
I think you're telling the truth. I'm pretty secure in that promise.
Yeah. So in this episode, we really got to know things from the parents' point of view, from Kitty and Jose Menendez. We got to know them as young people when they fell in love and got married. We got to know them early on in their careers, trying to make it as young, poor people. We've seen, then fast forwarding into the future, after they have kids, the stress that it caused to them, the affluenza that their kids were suffering from, that stressed their parents out in major ways.
Yes, their parents were very stressed out about that. Very, very stressed out about that. And another, man, Jose and Kitty didn't like those kids.
They didn't like those kids, no.
They barely loved them.
They found a lot of fault in their choices and their decisions. They saw them in the way. Kitty saw them in the way of her relationship with her husband. Jose just saw a bunch of failure. Lie, cheat, and steal, but don't get caught. That's something that we covered last time. And then we really saw how Jose reacts to all of that. Why he wants all of that.
The way
all of his motivations.
The way Jose reacted when he went and picked up the boys from jail. When they had been robbing houses in the neighborhood. Oh my gosh. The disdain on his face when he's at the front of the car and he's not saying anything. And every time, they tried to get out of the car, he'd tell him to go get back in the effing car. And but the way he had his mouth, it was just, he just absolutely hated them at that moment.
He took us through Javier Bardem, Oscar winner Javier Bardem, as Jose Menendez. He took us through a little bit of an emotional range during that moment. Ultimately, it ended and settled on the main problem, which is, God, I hate these kids. But it went from sadness and shame to anger and rage.
It did, because for Jose and for Kitty, the only thing that mattered for the most part was appearances.
Appearances were very important.
Very important.
I would say far more important to Jose than it was to Kitty. I think that a lot of that has been Jose's influence on her.
Yes. Jose, I think, was just a very, very, very proud man.
He was
not in pride in an individual.
Right. And it's just it's tough because we continue to comment episode after episode. What's real? What's not? What's sensationalized? Where's the real man? Where's the false man? Because in this, we really got to see an incredibly complicated human being.
We did.
Someone who was genuinely, in my estimation, according to this depiction on television and not in real life. I didn't know the man, never had a conversation with him. I think it would be quite impossible for me to have had a conversation with him.
I wonder
if... Okay, no, I couldn't have.
I wonder... Well, no, you couldn't have. I wonder if the abuse they told us that Jose actually had. There's really no way of knowing if that's real or not.
I mean, not unless we talk to the sister. Not unless we talk to...
and unless they talk to some Menendez family member that knew about it. Like you said, the sister did know about it. His sister did know about it, the way they said it, the way they depicted it. But it does make sense because a lot of these kind of things, lots of abuse, different kinds of abuse, are generational.
Oh yeah, handed over time and time again. I think that's...
They follow and they follow and they follow.
I mean, what do we constantly say? Monsters aren't born, they're created. That's something that we say a lot. That's how we react to a lot of these situations now, is a lot of these trouble. Well, it's not our fault. What was the circumstances, the upbringing, the situations that caused the break in this person, unless it is just a genuine mental illness. And then we need to figure out what it is, diagnose it, give it a name, make sure everybody understands what has gone on. Wasn't like that in the early 90s.
No.
And I would say that, generation after generation from the beginning of time, I would say it's going to be impossible to figure out where this all started. And the only thing we can know is how we ended.
He mentioned his mother having some horrible experiences with her uncle.
Right. And then
he having horrible experiences with her.
Right. And then his uncle likely had a horrible experience, and you just go back and back and back and back and back. And there is no beginning of this except for broken humanity at the beginning of time trying to figure out what's right and what's wrong, and the wrong just persisted and persisted and persisted. I'm not a psychologist, so I don't know why these particular crimes are such a prevalent one that gets passed down.
Yeah.
Like if you're a psychologist watching this, leave a comment and let me know what it is about this particular type of crime that is just given and given and given and given. I don't understand
almost any kind of physical abuse seems to pass on. Well, any kind of abuse seems to pass on. Being battered seems to pass on. Being verbally abused and being told that you're not worthy your whole life seems to be passed on. I don't know. It's sad thing. But I want to go back to the beginning of Jose and Kitty. Now it appeared to me like Kitty was it was almost a love at first sight kind of thing. She was enamored with him as soon as she saw him. And I think that Jose just it appeared to me he was attracted to her Americanness and she was so white.
I think that the most honest we ever got Jose was when he was telling Kitty that he didn't and never has loved her.
Yeah. And she was really devastated by that.
There was enjoyment. There was good memories and bad memories, but when it comes to I can't live without you, you're the reason why I've been able to succeed, and it's not there for Jose. And that it seemed to have been the way that it was depicted in this episode, at least. It seemed that confession seemed to have been very empowering for him in the end. Yeah. Because he comes back from this New York trip after, honoring Rome.
He come back from that New York trip saying feeling like he wants to turn a new leaf. He wants to start
the emperor.
Yes.
He's decided he's going to be in politics. So I guess maybe he was starting to feel like the emperor.
Yeah.
Look at all this strength that I've gathered from those around me.
Right.
Just, I wrote it down because I'm not sure if it's one thing or all things. Because I wrote down honoring Rome and Greece, because that's what he was talking about. That's how they brought strength and pushed away pain and became men. But then I also wrote down trauma. I wrote down, where are you on the sexuality spectrum? It's not just one or the other. Maybe you're somewhere in between.
He must have been.
But is this some sort of way of feeling dominance over people around you? This is a way of feeling like you have control over something. These are all questions that I asked. And is it all of them?
I think his whole, Spartans and soldiers and all this stuff that he was saying to himself, mostly, I think that was how he justified what he was doing.
Yeah, I think that was the main. Justifications are prevalent for people who are figuring things out. They justify things within themselves. I would say even today, people are still justifying. I mean, it might be easier to get to the end of your confusion and figure out what you are in 2024, but there's still justifications that you make along the way before you finally figure out exactly what it is that you are. And you can see from all of the Menendezes, from Jose to Erik, there's a lot of rejection over what you may have as natural feelings. Erik's part, I mean, nowadays he's married to a woman, has been since 1999. So I guess he got himself figured out in one way.
One of them's been married twice, is currently married, had been married previously and get divorced too. I don't remember which boy it is. But boy, it was a powerful episode. And I thought about, when Kitty passed out and had a seizure. The boys just watched her.
Yeah, just stood there and watched.
Just stood there and watched her. And when she kind of came to and got that bottle of Moscato off the counter and started chugging it.
And they're like, okay, of course.
Came to and then Lyle gives her a slow clap. Wow. Yeah, man, there's just so much disdain in that house.
What a wrecked house. Kaiwan is with us. Hi, Kaiwan.
Hi, Kaiwan.
Kaiwan says that he didn't see the first 3 episodes, and he can't believe how campy and exploitative the show is. And that's a genuine reaction. That's a genuine thing. And it's campy. It's Ryan Murphy. It's American Horror Story crimes.
Yeah. Kaiwan, I agree with you. And but I think we're seeing kind of what we expected, since it is Ryan Murphy. I think we're if we've seen enough Horror Story, or if you watch Dahmer, the first monster, you kind of expect.
You kind of know what you're sort of getting when it comes to the style of the presentation of the show.
Kind of.
I can say that it's getting easier to consume. It's easier to digest as we go along, for me at least. When it comes to the campiness and the over-the-top, the exploitative nature, the fact that you have to eat a spoonful of salt, not just not a grain, but a spoonful when it comes to the truth of it all.
You do. Kitty and Jose were so angry at the boys too, because they felt like they had to move.
Well, Jose felt like he had to move to leave the shame.
To leave the shame, and told Kitty in a couple of years we can come back after this dies down. We won't sell the house, continue renovating it, because she loved that house and didn't want to leave. She was ready to move to Koi Point.
She had friends.
Koi Point, 2 feet.
Well, I mean, he ripped her away from the life that she had, and I guess in the time it wasn't as easy to just go visit your friends in Calabasas, huh? I don't know.
Well,
it's a different lifestyle.
I guess she had her clique there in that neighborhood, though. Kitty had her girlfriend. She had her little clique.
She had her little life. You could see that in Calabasas, she was just living the dream and being happy. She was able to ignore this, ignore that, whatever. She had her clique. She had her nice jewelry. She had her good Christmases. She had a jolly husband for Christmas, with the nice gifts and a car and this, that, and the other stuff. And all of that is taken away. Now she's living in Beverly Hills, and his insanity grows tenfold because of the shame that he carried with him from Calabasas over his uncontrollable children.
Yes, and when the boys came home in front of the, and they're moving in, and the boys come home from tennis and jump out of that red convertible, and I mean, when they walk by their parents are just like, you could just God, I hate you. You could just see it.
Yeah, you absolutely can.
Man, they couldn't stand those boys.
I mean, give it to Chloe Sevigny and Javier Bardem as well for being able to just portray that between the lines.
And it was interesting too, the way that Jose treated the psychiatrist when they went to family. I mean, he was like that. That psychiatrist was so intimidated by Jose.
No wonder.
So intimidated. He starts to speak, and ask Erik what he thinks, and Jose tells him to shut the F up.
Yeah.
I'm paying you, shut the F up.
Absolutely wild.
Wow.
Just totally crazy. Kaiwan says, I think because of the father had the very, very Cuban upbringing during the Cuban crisis. And trying to translate from Kaiwanese here. And then when the community that took over Cuba had ruined it. And he got mixed up in all of that. Mixed up by all of that. So maybe that's
another
contributing factor.
Another thing that happened to Jose that I know sometimes it can be quite damaging. He was sent as a child to the U.S. alone.
Yeah, like get out of here.
And sent probably to live with a distant relative.
I knew one person.
Probably just one person. And there's no guarantee that person wanted them there, and there's no guarantee that person treated them with any kind of decency and respect.
Just go.
So, he was sent here as a child, which happens a lot.
Go make us some money in America and send it back.
Yeah. Go figure it out. Go
Go make
live the
something of
American.
yourself.
Yeah,
Oof.
yeah.
Well, that's a
So
lot of pressure. A lot of pressure from
that's
the
a ton of
family. A
pressure.
lot of pressure to make it. I mean, you even saw it toward the end too, where he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go make more money for the family. Like that's what the family needs."
Yeah.
Like he feels so obligated to continue to make money. He was talking about the next $20 million deal where he can go and do his next business venture,
Hmm.
buy a compound in Miami, run for Senate.
Well, I'm sure that if he would have survived much longer, he probably would have tried to make some of that stuff come true.
Oh, he definitely would have tried to make all that stuff come true, and he probably would have won.
And like he was supposed to be Joe Kennedy. That's what he said. So
Yeah,
he was trying to make Lyle and Erik into,
that's why
Teddy, John, and Robert.
the presentation of them was so important, that they had to be as unscathed, unsmudged as possible.
Yeah, he was sure mad about Lyle getting kicked out of Princeton too for cheating, and that they were saying, well, he's gonna have to take a year off, and
Yeah, well, I mean, that sets back the
oh
plan so
man,
much. Listen, you're
Jose
going to
wasn't having
Princeton.
that.
You're getting your degree. You're going to join me in politics as part of my cabinet. You are going to then do this, that, and the other thing. He was
Hmm.
going to get Erik involved in business, because Erik wasn't the sports star. He wasn't the athlete. He wasn't the this, that, the other thing like Lyle was.
Right.
Oof.
And then and then took Erik's headshots and threw them in the garbage, and oh,
Screw your dreams.
and basically at the end of that scene, after throwing his headshots all over and telling him what an idiot he is and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, pretty much pushed him in his bedroom, and you know what happened after that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And then
That was part of the punishment for trying to be a model.
on top of that as well, too, there's forcing him to take a particular date to prom for the look of it all.
Mm-hmm.
And then you do whatever you want with your buddy afterward. But get that
Right.
prom picture, just
Yeah.
not set up for support.
Appearances.
Because what mattered was, I guess, running America in some way, really living the dream and becoming
Yeah.
a senator.
Yeah. Just like, all the possibilities that a migrant could possibly,
Mhm.
anybody,
Like, I can't.
anybody that, yeah, if you can immigrate and come here and have this happen to you, this is the epitome of success.
Yes, yes, and I can't be president. The kids could.
Yes.
And so, if only I can instill my values on them and just keep their noses clean. But it's the money of it all. The money of it all got in the way, as well as the terrible abuse from the
Yeah.
parents. But the kids were not set up to make good choices, to see
No,
the
they
world
weren't.
as real, to appreciate something that's a Ford Wrangler or whatever the heck it was.
Hmm.
That Erik was like, "Oh, it's so embarrassing to have this one. Oh, this
Right.
car," which I'm sure
Yeah.
is better than any car I've ever had.
Well, he was said it was driving a Ford Escort.
Yeah. Oh, how
Yeah.
embarrassing.
Matt, you had a Ford Escort once upon a time.
Oh, yeah, I guess I did.
Another thing that Kitty was jealous of those boys.
Oh, yeah.
Kitty was jealous of the boys and felt like they were taking Jose away from her.
Yes.
I got news for you, Kitty. Jose wasn't worth having.
No, he wasn't, and I don't know. I guess she never really
But
learned
just
that.
just the whole no. He was really forthright too, even as a kid. When he goes to her house and gets her, he
Mm-hmm.
walks in the door, he says, "Nice to meet you." He says, "Let's go."
Mm-hmm.
Let's
Mm-hmm.
go, let's go, let's go, he said. "Nice to meet you. Let's go, let's go, let's go." And takes a like 18-year-old Kitty out, and they go
Uh-huh.
get married. He pretty much like stole her out of the living room.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
And she
also,
went along willingly, though. It's not
she
like
went
she was
along
pulling
willingly.
away from him.
No, and it's not like the interaction she was having with her mom was particularly positive either about him.
No,
So,
no.
like, I can understand that. I mean, maybe not the pull out and get married part, but pulling her out of that situation and getting her out of there, I
Mhm.
can understand that choice.
Yeah, I think he was pulling. For sure he was thinking he was taking her to something better. And for
Yeah,
a period of time, he probably did.
I think that we definitely saw the descent of this person. Like, he didn't start off great. He didn't
Right.
come to America good, we'll say. But we saw him get worse and worse as time goes on, as the pressure grows, as the disappointment increases, as his dream manifests, but not in the same shape that he originally had dreamt.
Right. He was, gosh, he was a monster.
Indeed. I wonder what his original dreams were, I mean, I hate to be fascinated by such a terrible man, but he's ultimately responsible for what happened to Erik and Lyle. And understanding him more would understand them more.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, they were, I mean, and I believe this is probably true, but man, those boys were very, very spoiled. I mean, they lived in a real fantasy world when it came to possessions and money and expectations. They lived in real fantasy.
It's not
but,
real.
But,
real.
But their fantasy, but it was their reality, You only know what you know when you're growing up. Basically.
I think that's still something that exists for the affluent in the United States today. I think that we're kind of seeing it when it comes to the real life falling out of P. Diddy before our very eyes. When it comes to just this other world that rich people live in.
It's very disturbing because I wonder just how widespread is that world.
It seems to be from border to border.
It seems to be.
When it comes to having a particular amount of money for an extended period of time and living in that high society world, it's not the same world that we're living in.
It's sure not. I think I'd stay in this world. My gosh.
I mean, it seems to be a little bit easier to manage.
Tell ya.
I mean, more money, more problems, more money, different problems. You don't have to worry about your rent.
I think Biggie had it right, didn't he? Biggie had it right. More money, more problems.
Oh goodness. Well, folks, this one I'm gonna give this one another 5 out of 5. I think that the show's hit the stride. I don't know if it's going to continue or carry because, as we continue to say, the reaction and reflection on the truth be told of this story, it leaves a lot to be questioned. But these actors are killing it. That's the best I can say. So 5 out of 5 because just great actors. Great actors.
Yeah. I'm happy for them. I think they're making a name for themselves and they're just acting their behinds off.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting what we expect out of Chloe Sevigny and Javier Bardem, and we really get to know Cooper Koch and Nicholas Alexander Chavez in different ways. We know Nicholas Chavez, who plays Lyle, from General Hospital. We know him from daytime television. He was on for a number of years, prominent primary couple. He won a daytime Emmy, so we've seen this guy do some drama, and this is a different level of intensity than what daytime brings.
Way more different level of intensity.
And Cooper Koch, even though I heard his name before, it's because he was in that movie They, Them, which was kind of an independent horror release. I think Hilary Swank might have been in it. No, it was Anna Chlumsky from My Girl. Anyway, and Kevin Bacon. In any case, he's in that movie, but he only has
Veda was in that movie, huh? That's Veda.
Yeah, Salt and Vest. My Girl. But he only has just a very small number of credits, is what I'm saying. So does Nick Chavez. I mean, they're relatively newcomers when it comes to the broad scope of Hollywood.
I think they did that on purpose. I think they did that on purpose with the two boys, and the surrounding cast is very well. I mean, Nathan Lane, for goodness sake.
Yeah, I mean, they really have a strong cast around them, a well-known and prominent strong cast. I don't know Ari Graynor from other stuff, but I'm going to start watching for her. She plays
I don't
Leslie.
either, but I recognize her face from something.
And I think Dr. Oziel. I think Dr. Oziel was on The Walking Dead. I think he might have played Milton, but I never looked it up. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. His part of the story seems to be done.
He reminds me of?
Who's that?
The Dr. Oziel. He reminds me of John Ritter if he was a little less cute.
I wonder if John Ritter would have done a role like this if he was still around. I bet he would. He did It.
Yeah, he did.
He played the evil robot villain in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. One of the last
things he did, actually. Might have been one of the last things he did.
No, I mean, I think...
Well, he was on that series when he passed.
He was on that series when he passed, but I don't know what he was doing in between It and the 10 Things to Tell My Daughter or whatever it is. Yeah. Anyway, that's not the show we were covering.
Reminds me of him a little bit.
Yeah, indeed. Well, thanks for joining us with my little chat that I had with my mama about Monsters, episode 6. Don't dream it's over. Hey now, hey now.
Don't say dream. Good song.
What
But
a
we'll be back on Monday to talk
Monday. We're
about
going to
the
finish it
last
off.
three episodes.
Yes. So join us on Monday for episodes 7, 8, 9 as we finish off
Mm-hmm.
Monsters Live right here on 10th Floor Podcasts Reacts to
And
Monsters
join us
Netflix.
tomorrow too.
And yeah, we got other programming out here. So, if this is your first time joining us here on 10th Floor and you also like daytime television, come hang out with us tomorrow and explore the library that we have out there. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Leave a comment on your reactions to this episode and what you think about Jose and Kitty.
Mm-hmm.
Very interested in reading it. Beyond that, follow us on Twitter at 10th Floor GH. Follow us on Instagram, same handle. I've been Matt.
I've been Kat.
Take
Matt's mom.
take us on the road with you with JLJ audio dramas, reactions, all sorts of things on JLJ Media. Searching on Spotify. See you later. Bye.
Bye, guys.